Oh, hello. Today I would like to take some time and talk to you about model railroad maintenance. Hey everybody, I'm back with another how-to video. Hopefully I didn't scare too many of you off with that intro, but I want to take kind of a boring subject that not a lot of people like to talk about and I don't know, talk about it from a different angle. And I want to talk about maintaining your model railroad while you're not in the mood to model railroad. What do I mean by that? So if you've been paying attention to my channel for any length of time now, you've noticed that I have not posted any videos at all lately. I haven't been on Instagram posting photos. I've been spending some time away from the layout. It's summer, it's nice outside, I've got yard work to do, I've got a baby that needs raised. I've got all sorts of excuses as to why I don't want to be down here working on the layout. But if I'm going to let the layout go for too long, I'm going to run into some issues. Model railroads are kind of like, living things, you know, they're kind of like living bodies almost. If you let it go for too long, you're going to wake up one day and you're not going to like what you see, right? And so what I want to talk about is maintaining your model railroad while you're away, while you're not in the mood to work on your layout. And really what you're doing is you're mitigating any potential harm that could happen to the layout. There are some things that can happen while the layout is just sitting that once you get back to model railroading again can really, you know, if you're not careful, crop up and become a major issue for you. So one of the things that can happen is track can kind of get dirty, can become unclean, conductivity can become an issue, and your trains won't want to run right. And if your trains don't run right, you're not going to have a good time model railroading, are you? So one of the things that I do, even while I am away from model railroading, is I run my trains. I try to run my trains a little bit, you know, a couple times a month. I run them around in circles around the layout just to keep the locomotives moving, keep the cars running over the track. Keep that track clean. Track can get gunked up really bad, even while you're away, even while you're not in the room. I don't know what it is, but track work can really just grab the grime and hold on to it. So one thing you'll notice on my train that I'm running around the layout here is it has a track cleaning car. This is a car that has an abrasive pad on it, and as you run trains, it kind of cleans it. Very cool, works very well to help maintain a layout in a really simple, easy way, especially in areas where it's kind of hard to get a hold of, get to with your hands. Another thing you want to do is get yourself one of these. This is a Bright Boy. It's like a magic eraser. It's not like a magic eraser at all. It's like a pencil eraser, but a little more solid. And just, you know, as you get time, just run it along the tracks, run it around solder joints. I find solder joints are areas where the track gets really dirty very quickly. Run it over switch points, keep those nice and clean and bright. And just here and there, as you get time, you have 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there, grab your little Bright Boy eraser tool thing and get to work on the layout. Another thing you can do is a little bit of isopropyl alcohol. Using that and just wiping down your track work keeps it nice and clean as well. You probably don't want to do it once you start to weather the track and paint it and everything. That can have some negative effects on the paint itself. But while your track is still in this kind of raw state, it's a good thing to do. Another thing you should do is you should look at dusting your cars, your locomotives. Dust builds up in a model railroad room. Not something to like to necessarily deal with, but it does happen. So I use a couple different types of dusting tools. I use an electronic duster. It has a very soft bristle brush. That's good for getting in between handrails and all those little fine details. I also use this guy right here. This is it's just a paintbrush I picked up at Walmart. It's a nice soft bristle brush. This is I use this brush exclusively for dusting. And I just come through here, and as I got trains running around the layout, I will just go along and dust my locomotives, dust my cars. If you don't do this on a regular basis, that dust can build up and it can kind of get a little gunky. It can become difficult to get off. You can get down in the grooves and the crevices and not want to come out of there. So regular light dusting of your locomotives, your cars, even your track work. I have a little can of canned air, compressed air that you use for electronic parts. I'll spray that along track work, just to kind of get that dust kind of out of those areas. Can really do a whole lot to keep your railroad looking fresh and clean and nice, and keep those cars from getting kind of dusty and dirty. Another thing we can do is just take a look at the layout itself. Try to find areas where we might be experiencing some trouble with some track work. I've got an area right over here I discovered while I'm getting ready for this video, so let's go take a look at that right now. Alright, if you're like a lot of people, you may only work on your model railroad in the fall and in the winter months when it gets a little colder outside and it's not as nice and you're, coming back inside. And that there's nothing wrong with that. Certainly I do the same myself. But if you're not working on your layout during the summer months, you may be missing out on some things, because layouts are made of wood, the rails are made of metal, and those things kind of tend to shift and move and breathe as the temperatures go up and down and the humidity changes as well. And so you may find that your layout is running into some issues because of that. As I was kind of working on running trains and setting up for this video, I noticed that I kept getting some derailments right in this area here. So when that happens, it's a good time to kind of take a look at your track work, make sure that it's looking okay. Maybe take a level to your bench work and make sure that the bench work isn't sagging or moving in some weird ways. Sight down your track, make sure it's not kind of being bowed or warped at all. One thing I noticed though, is right at this kind of joint where my swing gate closes here. It looks like the solder kind of popped up here. Looks like it just kind of broke the solder joint at this point right here, and so that track is kind of sticking up, and that's going to cause derailments. It's not something I'm going to fix right now. I'm not really working on my layout right now. I'm not in the mood to. But I'm going to make a note of it, because when I get back to wanting to work on my model railroad, that's going to be one of the first things I'm going to want to fix, so that I can run trains around my layout and not have an issue in that spot. Not a huge deal for me anyway. I was planning on kind of reworking all this track in the way that these sort of joints work in this area here anyway. But it's something certainly to make note of. That's about it. I mean, really what we're talking about here is mitigating any potential harm as much as possible, doing little things here and there, scrubbing your track a little bit with a Bright Boy, or running trains just for a little bit, dusting your cars occasionally here and there while you are running the trains, spending 5 minutes here, spending 5 minutes there, just to kind of keep an eye on things and keep things from kind of getting out of hand. And as long as you do that, your railroad will, you'll have a good idea how things are progressing in your layout. You'll be able to, cut off any potential issues before they become a major problem. And yeah, you'll just kind of be able to keep an eye on things and keep the layout happy. And a happy layout is a happy model railroader, I think. All right, guys, thanks for checking out this video, and I will see you all in another video.